Alright guys, how you all doing? I've had a bit of an idea this morning and I'd just like to make a video. It might be the first of a series, I'm not sure. So let me spell it out to you. There's this idea in chess that there are kind of particular openings that have been refuted and will only take you so far, right? Now, and a lot of teachers will say, don't do tricky and trappy kind of opening ideas, because while that may gain you some quick rating points, at some point you'll run out of steam, you'll hit the wall, you'll come across better prepared opponents, and so on and so forth. But it just got me thinking, because the vast majority of us are never going to be playing in FIDE rated over-the-board tournaments, right? So we're never going to be coming up against opponents, and until you become like a titled player, you're not going to be coming up against opponents where you know that opponent in advance, they know who you are in advance, and they can prepare against your stuff. So for 99.9% of us, we're only going to be really playing mainly other human beings online. And for the fun of chess, what's wrong with picking openings that have got tricks and traps and so on, right? And also, apart from that, we're only talking about generally marginal advantages. I mean, sometimes you can get a quick win, a shocking win in a particular opening line, and there are some genuinely bad openings. But even, for example, Craig, who's our 2000 rated coach in Chess Bootcamp Live, plays the England Gambit in Blitz, right? Which is the e5 in response to d4, and then takes. And yes, there's some very well-known trap in here, but Craig says that even in positions where he ends up losing his queen early on and sacrifices his queen, he gets a good game. So it's really interesting. So it got me thinking, right? And here's my thought. Work with me on this. Are there openings, or is there a repertoire that, let's say you're 1000 rated today or 600 rated today, that you could adopt now that would take you all the way through 2000 and to becoming a candidate master, right? A national master, FIDE master, whatever, a title player. Are there openings that would do that? And my hunch is, I think there are. And I have to add a caveat as well here, which is that yeah, picking some openings can get you some cheap points early on, but you're still going to get into the midst of battle, whatever happens, unless you just score some shocking wins, right? Let's say you decide, I'm going to play wayward queen attack all the time, which is just a bit stupid, but I mean, the wayward queen really is one of those things that's likely to backfire on you. So let's check this. The wayward queen attack, you are kidding me. So we're looking at the Lichess player database here. Wayward queen attack wins 53% of the time for white, 41% for black. So queen h6 here, queen h5, sorry. Okay, what settings have I got this on? Right, I'm going to set it to rapid only, 2000 and upwards. Let's check now. Queen h5, 49% win rate for white. So I can eat my words on that one. The wayward queen attack is actually one of white's best approaches. And this is still at the 2002-24 level on Lichess. So we need to knock off a few hundred for the chess.com equivalent. But it just goes to show, Magnus Carlsen has played the wayward queen attack, right? Not in serious competition. But so here's my point. I think there are a set of things that you can do. For example, let's look at this, and we're going to use. We'll set it 2000 and up. So this is for serious play. Okay, e4 e5. Let's just start there. E4 e5. The most common move, knight f3, right? And that could walk into all kinds of things. So how about we want to wrest the advantage straight away? For example, the King's Gambit, f4. Look at this. At the higher level, although knight f3 has been played 3.4 million times, King's Gambit comes in at number 2 with almost 500,000. Okay, and it has a 50% win rate for white, which is the same as knight f3. It's the same. So the King's Gambit, perfectly good. And I was just watching a video with Daniel Naroditsky, Grandmaster Naroditsky, and he was saying that the word on the street is the King's Gambit has now been refuted. There's a refutation of the King's Gambit. He says it's not true. He says the King's Gambit is playable at any level, and also people are scared witless of it at any level. And I checked the chess.com Explorer, and I think I've lost something like 69% of games when I have faced the King's Gambit, and that's maybe one reason why I don't play e4, e5 anymore, right? Because it's absolutely horrible. I lost in like 8 moves the other day in Blitz to a King's Gambit player. So it's one of the oldest openings in chess, maybe the oldest. It's one of the most respected in a way, and it will take you all the way if you want to go all the way. So it really, more than that, just probably comes down to a matter of style. If you like super aggressive starts, then the King's Gambit is great. Let's get down the list. Just check this out, right? Because look at this. I mean, they're all in the 40s and 50s. All of them in the 40s and 50s. So in a way, it doesn't really matter. So overall, white wins 50%, black wins 44%. And remember, this is rapid only, okay? So how do we beat the odds as white? So what's better? So f4, the King's Gambit, 50%, right? Next up, bishop c4, the bishop's game. Now that is also a spicy game with tricks and traps and stuff in it if you want to learn that. Nothing wrong with the bishop's game at all. Bishop's game wins 48% of the time. So it's actually slightly below average, maybe for white. So we can probably ignore that. And then d4, one of my personal favourites, and I know one of yours out there, the centre game. By far the most common response, 228,000 against number 2 at 16,000, is to take, and then we can find ourselves in the Danish Gambit, which is this. And from here, 52% for white, 43% for black, right? So you can play the Danish Gambit all the way to 2000 and beyond. So what else do we get? So we've seen King's Gambit, Bishop's Game, Centre Game, brackets Danish Gambit, Knight to c3, one of my personal favourites, and also 52% win rate for white, the Vienna, right? You can become a chess master playing the Vienna if you want. Nothing wrong with that. So let's forget about this idea that stuff has been refuted. It's supposed to be a refutation for the Danish Gambit, right? But yeah, maybe there are ways to play against it. But then what you do is you find ways to play against the ways to play against it. Say for example in the Vienna, right? And knight comes out, and we enter into we're offering the Vienna Gambit, right? This is already a mistake for black. The best move is d5. So if your opponent knows what he's doing, he'll play d5, and then you do that, and he does that, and then you can go into the Paulson attack if you wish, and knight takes and b takes. And I've had this position. In fact, let's pull up the chess.com Explorer and see how well I've done in my games from that position, right? Because remember, the point of the opening is to get into playing chess. Okay, so if they take, I win 51% of the time. No, sorry. If I take on here, yeah, I win 51%. Then knight takes nearly always, and then queen f3 nearly always, and it's 51-48 to me, right? So I don't do fantastic. Oh, actually, when the knight takes here, which is the most common move, that's weird, 61% win rate. 61% win rate from this position, right? So there you go. Not wrong with it, guys. Not wrong with it at all. So you don't need to stress it. So let's have another look at what else is further on down the list. Nothing really jumps out. Everything else is below 50%. So we can ignore that stuff. So if you are an aggressive ugly bugger and you want to do something unpleasant and aggressive, then your best options are in order, according to Lee Chess, and this is for competing against intermediate to advanced players, right? Your best option to learn is the Danish. According to this, your second best option at 52%, coming in at 2, is the Vienna game. And bizarrely, these are the two openings that I've probably played the most. And anything else above 50%, no. Nothing else above 50%. King's Gambit is 50%, and then Knight F3, obviously. But Knight F3 can lead you into all kinds of territory. So really interesting stuff. Now, what if you're a D4 player? D4 player, you're going to meet Knight F6 and D5 most of the time. So let's look at D5 first of all. And we're looking for, so the average is 42 for black. So we're looking for things that kind of break the mold on that a bit. Hang on. So, hang on, let's flip the board again. We are black now. Okay, so let's say, no, we're not black. Forgive me. Right, we're white. Your opponent plays D5 in response to D4. So we are white. Your best options here. Bishop G5. What's that? Bishop G5, the Levitsky attack. Never heard of that in my life, but it scores well. 52% for white from that position. Can't be sniffed at. What else beats the odds? E4. E4, the Black-Mar Gambit. Now, this is a very, very useful line to learn, I think, particularly because if you're an E4 player as well and you face the Scandinavian, you can play D4 and get into the Black-Mar Gambit. Well worth knowing, because most Scandinavian players, if you look at this, right, so if your opponent is a Scandi player, then they're expecting he takes D5, 790,000, okay? E5, I'm sure that's not, no, it's not a great move, that's good for black. Yeah, I always like to see that because I play the Scandi. So E5 comes in second at 74,000, Knight F3 comes in third at 30,000, Knight C3 comes in at 27,000, right? And then finally D4 is the fifth most common at 11,000 only. And that's out of nearly 1 million games, right? So people don't play the Black-Mar Gambit, but the Black-Mar Gambit is perfectly playable. And look, guess what? 51% win rate for white against 44. So learn the Black-Mar Gambit. That's my point. So yeah, if you're a D4 player and you're faced with D5, go Black-Mar Gambit. Why not? It's perfectly good. And then when they take, the old Black-Mar Gambit was F3 immediately, right? And then this dude called Dima came along and said, hang on, I think we're a bit better off if we play this one first. And then you play F3, takes, knight takes. And that's the Black-Mar Dima Gambit, which is an improvement on it. Okay, so what else do you face if you're a D4 player? D5 a lot of the time, and then Knight F6 a lot of the time. Let's go by the stats. What's best by test? Scanning down the list, black wins 46% of the time on average, and here I see a couple of 50s. Again, down, lower, down, which is what I'm looking for. I want to take the game by the scruff of the neck. E3, the Indian defence. So this feels a bit more conservative, a bit more passive. So if you're a D4 player and you fancy doing that, then all good. Now, what about obviously Bishop C4? Bishop F4, going into a London. 46% to white, 47% to black. So that's not particularly strong, yeah. If you play London style against that, and the other 50%. So we've looked at E3 and then C3. C3. It's also so right. So hang on. Now this is the Indian defence. This doesn't have a name according to Lee Chess, right? But you're blocking off the diagonal towards your king. You're opening up an option for your queen. That seems perfectly good. Whatever that's called, you could play that one, right? So let's have a quick look at black while we're here. Flip it a border. Same stuff. So you're black against 1e4. Let's go down the list, and this is 48 win rate for white, 46 for black. Again, we're talking at the high level, but we're looking for things that can carry us through, full of tricks and traps at the beginner and intermediate level, but serious enough to keep you going. Now, I mean, one thing that jumps out to me that I know I've looked into before is the Russian game, the Petrov. Sorry, not the Petrov, the Alekhine. Petrov is this, right? So we're not talking about that. We're talking about the Alekhine's defense, which just looks wrong on every level. However, at the higher level, 50% win rate for black against 43 for white, right? It's weird, it's funky, it's ugly, it's so kind of wrong in so many ways. You can find your knight kicked around all over the board and give white the entire center. Something like this, and this is the 2 pawns attacking the Alekhine, and yet you can do quite well. Not necessarily from that position. In fact, from here, the correct move is d6. And from here, 51 to 43 in black's favour. So the Alekhine is something, and guys, the Alekhine is played at every level. I'm sure that Nepo played it in the World Championship at least once. Right, so the Alekhine's an option with knight f6, and that's right down. That's down at number 8, but it's actually black's best scoring response. Black's best scoring response is this stupid ass looking Alekhine's defense with knight f6. Anything else that beats the odds? Knight c6 does all right. That's a kind of, don't know what's that. The Nimzo, okay, Nimzovich defense. That's more or less it, according to this. There's a few. What else beats white? c6. The Caro-Kann. Yeah, Caro-Kann, solid positional, whatever. e6, the French, not quite so good. So c6, black wins 47 against 46. So that's an interesting one. c5, the Sicilian, is equal on 47. But if you're looking to break the bank, then this, and also this Nimzovich defense with knight c6. Interesting stuff, isn't it? So what about if you are... Oh, hang on. So let's do... So what about the Scandi? How well does the Scandi do? 46 against 48. However, as we saw in my Scandinavian video, when they take, you can change it slightly, because queen takes is better for white, 49-44, but the modern is 47-47. So, and this is at the higher level, right? So you have pretty much established relative equality already on move 2 with the black pieces if you play the Scandi modern. And if we look at the lower level, so we'll switch off the stronger ratings, 49 for black against 46 for white. Okay, so this will carry you through, and quite honestly, if you can get equal odds within a few moves as black at the 2000 plus level, happy days, right? That's exactly what you want. That's all you can hope for as black. The point here is not that you're going to stun white with an early checkmate. The point is that you want to get into the middle game on equal terms if you can. That is your goal as black when you are playing at higher levels. So interesting stuff. So so we've looked at that. I think that's more or less it, guys. I think the moral of the story is don't sweat it. Pick something that you enjoy. Pick something that you like. And if you can, stick with it, right? I mean, it crossed my mind today. Like, do I want to play? Do I want to learn the King's Gambit, right? Because honestly, it looks like a whole heap of fun. It really does, and it does really well for white. 50% against 46 in this position, and there's quite a lot of different kind of lines in it. Captures is the most common. But if they play just a passive knight c6, that's 51% for white, or 52 on here. If they play d6, 53% for white. So plenty of fun to be had in all of this. What it really comes down to is style. So yeah, if it is your goal to hit 2000 and to go on to become a title player, pick some openings, stick to them, right? But also, just bear in mind that in all of these, we're talking about single figure percentage points around 50 or around 45, depending on, white or black. So it's not all that important. The bottom line is, even if you employ some tricks to get you into the middle game with a slight advantage, you're still playing chess, guys. You're still in the thick of battle. You can't stop at that point. So if you're starting, if your rating is artificially inflated to the point where you are playing maybe players who are a bit stronger than you at chess, you're going to be losing that advantage in the middle game and in the end games as well. So this idea that everybody should learn classical openings, I don't know. I don't really get it. I don't really agree. Nah, that's basically it. That's the idea. So pick what you want to play and enjoy it. And guys, if you've got any other particular ideas of ways to start the game for white or for black that you think are fun, tricky and trappy at the lower levels, but still perfectly solid and valid at the higher levels, and then let me know in the comments. But quite honestly, it seems like almost anything goes, guys. So bottom line, enjoy your chess. Please enjoy it. It's a bloody game at the end of the day. So just have fun. So right now, I'm very, very happy with this Vienna. I can't see myself really wanting to go back and learn the King's Gambit. But if there's a huge outcry, if you guys say, yeah, let's all learn the King's Gambit, then we can do that. I'm really happy to do that. That's against that. Against the Sicilian, let's just look at this as well, because we didn't look at kind of other responses really. But the whole principle works out. But you can go on leadchess.org, go onto the Explorer. It's under the Tools menu, right? Opening Explorer. You click on the cog to set what levels and what time formats you want. Okay, and then you can just click your way through. You don't even have to log in. That's the beauty of lead chess. It's great. So against the Sicilian, so I've been playing the Smith-Morra Gambit with d4. I'm very familiar. It's almost like I can just play e4, d4 all the time. It just doesn't matter unless they play Alekhine's, in which case they simply take my pawn. Or the Scandinavian. If they play the Scandinavian, what happens there? No, because that's the Black-Mark Gambit. See? Simples. Okay, there. So, how do we do well as black? As white here. What's the best responses for white? So the average is 48 against 47. So this is why a lot of strong players play the Sicilian, because it's good for gaining parity. So highest scoring is actually d4 and c3 and g3. Right? d4, the Smith-Morra Gambit. c3 is the Alapin. Yep. And c3 is perfectly good, because then what you're doing is you're preparing d4. So if c takes d4, c takes d4, and you've hitting my mic, and then you've retained your central pawns. So Alapin good, Smith-Morra good at 49, and what else do we have? A knight c3, the closed Sicilian, at 49 also for white. So that's the best that we've got, and there's a couple. Also a3. I mean, this is really edge stuff, and g3, but that's getting really into the weeds down at the bottom there. Nobody really plays that. They're both on 49 as well. So 49 at these levels is about the best you can get. Let's go a bit higher, and let's take off blitz as well. And so what's the best that white does here? Knight c3 at 49. Smith-Morra drops down to 47, and c3. The Alapin, also 47, and then b4, the wing gambit, the immediate wing gambit, at 47 as well. So basically, yeah, it comes out. It's far more about style. What do you want to play? Do you want to play solid positional, or do you want to play fun and funky and dangerous and sharp? It's over to you. Okay, thanks for watching, everyone. See you soon.